Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video we're going to be previewing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 1 matchup versus the San Francisco 49ers. First thing I want to mention is, yes, I have updated the whiteboard. Thank you for noticing. I've got a couple of hashtags up there, hashtag GoBucs and hashtag the MBNation. Let me know what you guys think about that name for our community, if you will. Do you like it? If you have any suggestions for maybe a different name to call ourselves, let me know down in the comment section below. Or if you think we shouldn't even have a name at all, let me know down in the comment section below. I've seen a lot of other Bucs content creators, Tampa 2 Bucs, Real Talk Prez, among others. They've been kind of like naming their communities and naming their fan groups and whatnot, naming their communities essentially. So I kind of wanted to do that. It sounded like a lot of fun to me. So if you guys have any suggestions or just think we shouldn't do it at all, let me know down in the comment section below, please. I also have my prediction up there, 10-6. I'm not going back on that one. I'm going to keep it up there the entire year so you guys can see what I predicted before the season started, and I'm not going back on that at all. And I also have the Buccaneers' current record up there that will change from week to week as the season goes on. With that being said, let's get into this preview. First couple of things I want to talk about are revenge games. First one is Kwon Alexander. Obviously, he's the new San Francisco 49ers linebacker, and everybody in San Francisco is loving Kwon, which makes sense. Kwon Alexander was the heart and soul of this Buccaneers defense for a few years here, and now he's going to be in another team's uniform, and his first game in another team's uniform is against his old team. Isn't that convenient? But, ultimately, this should be a good matchup. Kwon Alexander, he is a pretty good linebacker at the end of the day. I know some Bucs fans have said, well, he's not as good as, we initially thought he was when he was with Tampa Bay, which is fine. You guys can think that, but I think that the heart and soul of Kwon Alexander was definitely present here in Tampa Bay, and now that attitude and that demeanor and that work ethic, that's all in San Francisco now, so it will be pretty upsetting to see Kwon Alexander in another team's uniform, but it is what it is. We have Devin White now. I'm not worried about it, so, he's going to be going up against O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, Tanner Hudson, and Anthony Auclair. So is Fred Warner, another linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers. So definitely look out for that matchup. Kwon Alexander going up against O.J. Howard. Lord have mercy. That's going to be a fun one. Another couple of revenge games here that you have on the Buccaneers side of the ball. You have Bradley Pinion and you have Blaine Gabbert. Now, Blaine Gabbert, he's not going to be playing in this game because Jameis Winston is here, of course. But, Bradley Pinion, the punter. Can we talk about this real quick? And I know, oh, haha, punter, revenge game, isn't that funny? But I want Bradley Pinion to punt out of his mind in this upcoming game. I want him to punt like a man possessed, okay? I want him to down him at the one every single punt, okay? Because I'll be honest, I wasn't too impressed with Bradley Pinion's punting in the preseason, and I want to see some improvement here, especially against his former team. He came to Tampa Bay, signed a long-term deal. Goodness, Bradley Pinion, I want you to go out there, and I want you to show those San Francisco 49ers that they made a mistake not re-signing you. Pin them down at the one, pin them down in their own territory, way deep in their own territory, and make them pay. Couple of other cool things in this game, couple of storylines, I guess you could say, is this is going to be BA's first regular season game back since he retired at the end of the 2017 season, which is very cool indeed. It's going to be great to see BA back on the field. I know we saw him in preseason, and that was very cool to see, but this is when the games matter. We're going to see Bruce out there giving it all, giving it his all. We're also going to see the rest of his coaching staff and the rest of the players as well, all of it giving it their all. The culture that Bruce has brought in such a short amount of time, and the communication that he's also brought in as well, has been really awesome to see. So I'm very excited to see it all go out there and see it all gel together. It's going to be a very cool sight. Here's a couple of fun facts about Bruce Arians versus the San Francisco 49ers in his history as a head coach in the league. First things first is his overall record against the San Francisco 49ers as a head coach is 7-3, and during his time in Arizona, the last 6 games he played against the San Francisco 49ers, he was 6-0 before he eventually retired. So his last 6 games that he has had against the San Francisco 49ers, he went undefeated. So that's pretty good track record coming into this game. Bruce Arians certainly knows how to coach against the 49ers. I know it's a different coaching staff and different players, but hey, you know, if you're one of the more superstitious types, Bruce Arians has a good track record against this team, 7-3 all time. So that's a pretty darn good thing. He hasn't lost in 4 years, I guess, technically, if you count the year he was retired. So, you know, that's pretty good for the superstitious people. Finally, let's talk about some matchups to keep an eye on in this upcoming game. First things first, talking about the Buccaneers offense versus this San Francisco 49ers defense. Let's talk about the Buccaneers offensive line versus the San Francisco 49ers defensive line. And guys, this San Francisco 49ers defensive line is no joke. I mentioned Quan Alexander, I mentioned Fred Warner. Those are the 2 big linebackers. You also have Dee Ford, you have Nick Bosa, you have Solomon Thomas, you have DeForest Buckner, and you have Eric Armstead. All 5 of those guys are very lethal pass rushers, and they're going to be going up against a combination of Donovan Smith, Ali Marpet, Ryan Jensen, Alex Kappa, and DeMar Dodson. This is going to be a huge first test for this Buccaneers offensive line. Let's see how they work together. Let's see how they gel. We've heard some talk, we've heard some reports that, well, the communication hasn't been good so far up to this point with the Buccaneers offensive line, especially at the tackles positions, you know, and we've seen that firsthand. You know, certain things have happened where defenders just completely blow by their guys due to a communication error, especially according to Bruce Arians. He has said in press conferences after the games when sacks were given up, he explains that, oh, it was just a communication error. So that can't happen in regular season. We need the communication to be spot on. We need this offensive line to gel, to protect Jameis Winston and to protect those running backs, to kind of combat this, you know, large amount of pass rush. I expect Jameis Winston to get the ball out of his hands quickly. And I also expect him to rely on his running backs. Both Rojo and Peyton Barber, I expect them to get a healthy amount of carries. And even Dario Gambawali, let's throw him in there as well. I expect all 3 guys to get a healthy amount of carries. I expect him to get the ball out of his hands quickly to guys like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, also Brashad Perriman. I expect all those weapons to get the ball very, very quickly thrown to them just because of the sheer amount of pass rush that the 49ers are going to be sending. So I want to talk about real quick about the outside weapons that the Buccaneers have. I know I just mentioned them, but Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they're going to be going up against Jason Verrett if he does play, and Richard Sherman, which, you know, isn't easy matchups. Richard Sherman, you know, I know he's had a couple of years, you know, since his Seattle days, and he's kind of on the decline now, but he's still a pretty decent corner, all things considered. Yes, he might not be as fast and as agile as he once was due to age, but he's still got everything above his shoulders. You know, that's stuff that Bruce Arians loves, is what's above your shoulders. And Richard Sherman's one of the smartest cornerbacks in the game. He knows how to play against quarterbacks. He knows how to read offenses and whatnot. So you still can't really count him out. Also, Jason Verrett, you know, the guy's had a lot of injury problems, but whenever he's fully healthy, he can be a really, really, really good corner. It's just all a matter of him staying healthy. You know, that's kind of the whole story of this 49ers team, honestly. I'll probably get into that a little bit, but Jason Verrett, you know, he's probably going to be going up against Chris Godwin a lot if he does play again. Keep that one in mind. So these are 2 matchups to keep an eye on. Quan Alexander going up against O.J. Howard. Fred Warner going up against guys like O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate. You know, tight ends versus the 49ers linebackers. Also keep an eye on those matchups as well. So yeah, that's a lot of weapons going up against a lot of you know, tough matchups, but I think ultimately the Buccaneers weapons are gonna prevail because they're pretty darn good. Let's talk real quick about this Buccaneers defense versus this 49ers offense. And I'll be honest, I'm not too greatly impressed by this 49ers offense. The offensive line, it's ho-hum, kind of middle of the pack to below average in my opinion. I'm sure 49ers fans will disagree with me, but that's fine. But the reason I think they might struggle in this game is because of Todd Bowles and his defensive scheme that he's bringing into Tampa Bay. Very unorthodox, very, very unique. He's going to be blitzing the hell out of you in so many different ways. It's going to be very interesting to see. Deon Buchanan, you know, Devin White, Levante David, Shaq Barrett, Carl Nassib, Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, William Golston. Those are all guys. Bo Allen, you know, I can name guys forever, but a lot of those guys have had, you know, times when they can get to the quarterback, a lot of them in a lot of times, you know what I mean? So these guys know how to get to the quarterback, and all of them seem to fit very, very well so far up to this point in Todd Bowles' defense. A handful of them have played in this scheme before. So, keep an eye on these pass rushers that I just mentioned versus the 49ers offensive line, because that's going to be a very important matchup to keep an eye on. Also, George Kittle, the life and soul of this 49ers offense and basically the team in general, he's going to be going up against Devin White and Levante David. That should be one hell of a matchup, because I will give fair credit, George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the league. So keep an eye on that. Devin White, Levante David versus George Kittle. That should be a really, really good matchup. In terms of the 49ers pass catchers, again, something that I'm not too impressed with. I know they have a lot of speed. You have Deebo Samuel, who is very, very fast, but I personally, haven't seen a lot from him, so I'm sure 49ers fans will correct me down in the comment section below, but I haven't seen a whole heck of a lot from Deebo Samuel yet, but you certainly can't count a guy like him out. You also have Marquise Goodwin, very, very fast wide receiver. He's going to be going up against Carlton Davis and Vernon Hargreaves a whole lot in this game. And then you also have guys like Dante Pettis, who I like. I think he certainly has a lot of potential, and he's certainly a little bit different. He's kind of a bigger, more physical type of wide receiver, so that should also be a good matchup against our Buccaneers cornerbacks as well. Finally, let's talk about Jimmy Garoppolo and these San Francisco 49ers running backs. Let's talk about the running backs first, because I want to save Garoppolo for last. But these running backs, you have Tevin Coleman, former Atlanta Falcons running back. The Buccaneers are very familiar with him. And you have Matt Breida. Now, the big knock, in my opinion, on pretty much this whole 49ers team, to a certain degree, there are certain positions that can remain healthy, but there are a lot of positions on this team, wide receiver, offensive line, running back, quarterback, secondary, that just get really dinged up with injuries. Linebackers, a lot of these position groups have had really bad injuries in the past, and a lot of these players are coming back from their injuries, but that injury history is still there. They can get hurt in this upcoming game, and that's going to be something to keep an eye on. Tevin Coleman, Matt Breida, they have dealt with injuries in the past, so definitely keep an eye on them and their durability in this upcoming game, because they're going to be getting hit hard. They're going to have to deal with a lot of pressure and a lot of run defense. Also, Jerick McKinnon, another running back that the San Francisco 49ers basically stole away from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in free agency a couple of years ago. He's also been placed on the IR yet again, I believe, unless something has changed. So, this is a very dinged up team, or it definitely has the potential to be very injured moving forward in their season. So, keep an eye on the durability of all the positions on this team moving forward. And then finally, you have Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo suffered a torn ACL last year. He's coming back from that injury. That's fine. I have no problems with that. The problem I have is the hype that has surrounded Jimmy Garoppolo since he's been traded from the New England Patriots. Actually, basically since he's been with the New England Patriots. He was traded to the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers gave him a big old contract, and everybody has said, Jimmy G's the franchise guy. Jimmy G is the guy who will bring the 49ers back to greatness. And guys, if I'm being honest, I am not too impressed with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that so far up to this point, he has been injured, and I will give him credit for that. That's out of his control. But the stuff that I've seen from his playing time, whenever we have seen him on the field, I have not been impressed. He has looked like a very middle-of-the-pack quarterback to me, which isn't too terrible of a thing, but I don't think he has, a complete team around him yet that can really help him out and really help him develop into a better quarterback. Right now, as it stands, Jimmy G, he's had some injury issues, and so far, when we have seen him on the field, he looks like a middle-of-the-pack quarterback, so I'm going to be very interested to see how Jimmy G reacts to all this blitzing that Todd Bowles is going to send, the full potential of this Buccaneers defense. I really want to see how he adjusts, how he reads the defenses, and just overall how he plays. Guys, that's pretty much it for this preview. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. If you want my opinion, I think the Buccaneers are going to win this game, and I'm going to give them a score of, I'm going to say 28-14. 28 to 20. Let's say 28 to 20. That's what I think the score is going to be. I think the Buccaneers are going to win 28 to 20. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you think the Buccaneers are going to win? Do you think the 49ers are going to win? And if so, let me know your score predictions down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed. But until the next video and the next live stream, I will see you guys in the next one. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.